All right, welcome once again to my high school football championship series for college football 26. Quick reminder, as always, these 8 teams featured in this series are available for download and use in your college football 26 video game. Simply search for my username, Terrebonne94, down there at the bottom, and you can import any one of these custom-made teams for use in your college football 26 video game. Make sure you're searching for my username in the username search box and not in the keyword search box. All right, so we are in week 7. We just finished game 1, HL Bourgeois South Lafourche. We're now moving on to game number 2. So we're going to be seeing our next matchup, Morgan City at South Terrebonne. Let's go ahead and move on to our gameplay footage, and we'll get to that action here in just a second. So here is the matchup that we are looking at. You can see the matchup between those two teams. South Terrebonne is sitting in a very comfortable spot at the number 2 spot in the ratings with a rankings with a 5-1 record currently, looking to improve to 6-1 here in the final game of the season. While Morgan City is currently in the playoff hunt, surprisingly, with 2 victories on the season. They're down there at the bottom. This is a very important game. This is pretty much their destinies in their own hands. So if they can win this game, that could punch their ticket to the playoffs. So let's see how they fare. They have already pulled off an upset earlier this season against Central Lafourche. Let's see how they fare against South Terrebonne. Take a look at the uniforms. South Terrebonne will be in their blackout uniforms. So this is a quick look at what that is going to look like. I think this is the first time this season they're wearing those. And then Morgan City will be in their alternate away uniform, so pretty much an all-white uniform with those tiger stripes on the helmet. All right, so we are moving down to Berg, Louisiana, which is just outside of Houma, Louisiana, on an 8 p.m. Friday night kickoff under the Friday night lights. I'm going to go ahead and send it to the broadcast booth now, and we're going to see Morgan City Tigers facing the South Terrebonne Gators. Let's see how this one shakes out. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the other side.
Stadium buzzing, kickoff team on the field, and we are ready to get this thing started. And he hauls it in, and everybody's on the edge of their seats. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. As we take a quick look at the impact players for today's game, what players did you guys look to for motivation to make an impact during your playing days, Jesse?
Well, it was the guys we relied on each and every week. We came into the season expecting these types of guys to be our biggest weapons, and every week those were the guys that had to deliver for us in order to have success.
And it's just fun to have those guys that are consistent. Like, they lead by example, then they start to learn their voice and lead the team. But every week, guys that you can count on, they punch the clock.
There we go. Really good job by everybody there. Well blocked, good run, and a first down. Man down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. The offense getting set for a first down from the 45. Use the play fake, now to throw. And it's incomplete. If you're going to take a hit like that, you might as well hang on to the ball. They're dealing with a second and long. Back to throw, it's Stewart. Unloads to the wideout. Got his man. And he's knocked down immediately, but not before he moves the chains. team's unit to come onto the field. The matchup we'll be watching in this one really takes you back. Big-time running back going right into the face of a tackling machine at linebacker, David.
Yeah, and we're going to see this individual battle a lot. Not just in pass coverage when they match up, but just meeting in holes. And who's going to win when they go head-to-head? That will be a big factor in who wins this football game. But, Jesse, one-on-one, this is going to be a show.
This is going to be an incredible matchup that's going to go on until there's zeros up on the clock. Both of these guys have circled this game on the calendar because they knew who they were going to be facing. Two guys we know are going to play at the next level. But I think this is probably one of the better individual matchups we're going to see all season long.
On 3rd and long, try to convert through the air. And those two couldn't make the connection. It's an incomplete pass. They bring the punter onto the field now. They'll boot it into the night sky for the first time. Now on the return. Takes a move. He's brought down, but a really solid effort to pick up every bit of yardage he could on the punt return. Off the play fake on 1st down to throw. Grabbed over the middle. It's Dupree. Defense needs to regroup as he gets it down to the 26.
It's really easy to be a quarterback in an offense that runs the football and then runs play action. It makes it simple. It makes the reads easy. It sucks the linebackers and safeties up where I can just make plays right behind them.
Setting up for a 1st and 10 from the 26. Rides to back and leaves it on the option. Gets it past the mark. Nice pickup on the ground there. They'll move the sticks with the 1st down. Quarterback on the keeper. Got some room ahead of the goal line. Takes it into the end zone for a touchdown.
Now, you've seen the evolution of the option. You've seen the evolution with the scrambling quarterbacks that can run and be so dynamic and just so much to defend. The quarterback says, forget that. You defend everything, I'll take it myself. In for 6.
They get set for the point after as we have the first score of the game. And he's got the extra point, and it's 7-0 to start this one. Quick strike offense on that 3-play scoring drive. And they finish it off with a 14-yard run for the score. What kind of field position can he help them with on the return? Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. Off the play fake on 1st down to throw. Oh, they're after him. Trying to make magic on the scramble.
It's just so nice to have a QB under center nowadays in football. You can trust these guys. You put so much on their plate. And you tell them, go get positive yards when it's there. And a lot of these guys are such great athletes, they do it with ease.
Makes the grab. It's Hawkins. And he goes out of bounds after coming up with positive yardage there. They'll go to the air on 3rd and short. Pulls it in. It's Richard. Good, solid pickup on that one. They've got it out to the 40, and it's 1st down. Wants to throw on 1st down. Caught in the backfield, it's Marsh. He's into plus territory, knocked out of bounds after the nice game. Mark it up to 47. This offense lining up now at the 48-yard line on 1st and 10. Now the play fake. He lets one fly deep. It's picked off, and they ruin the drive with a turnover. Takes it the other way. He's at the 40. They finally make the stop, and not only the huge turnover, but the big return has them set up in business.
What an amazing play by the defense. Not only do you get the interception, but you completely flip the field. And how about the open field running by that guy once he made the pick?
Couldn't ask for better starting field position for this offense. To throw, it's Stewart. Rushes on him. And here comes the heat, and they get home, and they get him at the 21.
How about this defense coming out aggressive on 1st down? They're in the red zone. They're like, no, we're going to take the fight to you. Now setting up a a second down and long and putting them in a great position to be successful.
Plenty of distance between them and the sticks here on second down. Looking to fire. Bringing the heat. Fires deep toward the end zone. Oh, he had it. The deep ball was there, and it just trickled through his fingers. And they don't want to waste this great field position here on third and long. They run the screen. He can't find enough room. Stopped at the 17, and it brings up a fourth down. They'll try to cap off this drive with a field goal. Splits the uprights right down the middle. And that lead grows even bigger.
Well, they're able to get a field goal, put 3 points up on the board after getting that interception. You would like to have seen the offense do a little bit more with that possession, give themselves an opportunity to score a touchdown. But listen, teams will take 3 points any way they can get.
He'll start the return inside his 5. The coverage team maintains his discipline, not much doing on that return. So, guys, we'll see this offense again. One back in the backfield, and they'll give it to him. Strong run to get it out to the 21-yard line. They pick up at 6. Got 6 on first down. Now a lot of options on second and 4. Wants to go up top. Snagged in the middle. It's Harris. Building momentum, picking up a chunk of yardage, moving the chains out to the 34. He'll keep it himself. Makes it past the marker. And he's to the 48-yard line. That'll be good enough for a first down. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. They'll line up right at the 48-yard line on first and 10. Use the play fake. Now to throw. A shot toward the end zone. Oh, he dropped it. That deep ball was right on the money. You just have to make that catch. They come to the line with a minute to play in the opening quarter. They'll go to work in the air on second down. Got the quick pass. And he'll run across the sidelines after the good gain. Looking to pick up a first down on third and short from the 43. He'll keep it on the sneak.
Well, he gets stuffed on that QB sneak. He's just not doing a really good job of reading the crease and finding a little space to kind of tuck into and drive his feet. He's just running himself into a wall there.
Well, and how about the big boys up front? Make a crease. Push somebody back. Create some space. There was nowhere to go.
Could be a pivotal moment in this game as we open the second period and they try to find a way to answer. Way too close to punt, way too far for the field goal. They'll go for it on fourth down. Can't make the connection, and the defense gets a fourth down stop. The give to the back. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage. Got stuffed on first down. It's second and 10. He's got it on the right. Not much running room there thanks to this senior defender. Now facing a third and long. Back to throw. It's Stewart. He puts a lot of air under it down the sideline. Oh, he had it. The deep ball was there, and it just trickled through his fingers. And here comes the punt team. This will be the second time they've had to kick it away. Going to make sure he doesn't get a return on this one as the punt bounces out of bounds. They've got the big fellas out there, a 3 tight end look on first and 10. Here's the handoff. And the big defensive front wins the battle. No gain on that play. Didn't get much done on that first play of the drive. It's second and 11. The play action fake. Throws for the tight end. Excellent coverage. defense onto the field again. Wants to throw on first down off the play fake. Trying to burn this defensive back. Makes the grab down the middle. And they're getting it rolling with that play to the 42-yard line.
Well, Reese, you and I were talking about this before the game. How is this defense going to be able to deal with all the speed they have offensively? You saw them just rip off a big play.
And Jesse, now their head's spinning just a little bit. Give up a big chunk play, and it's right back at them. They used the chunk play to cross midfield, and they got it 1st and 10 just outside the 40. And he never had a chance. Just stopped cold as soon as he got it. To the air. It's Stewart. Tackled almost immediately. They're well short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and long. And he was hit just as he was releasing the pass, and it falls to the ground incomplete. They bring the punter onto the field now. And a precision punt there will pin them deep inside their own 10-yard line. We'll see what this offense can do sitting inside its own 20. Off the play fake on first down. That's caught. It's Marshall. They bring him down, but not before he's able to pick up the first down. Passing game kept this drive moving. Let's see if they try it again. The give to the back. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play. They got nothing on the last play. It's 2nd and 10. Back to pass. Under fire. And the quarterback brought to and sacked at the 12. They'll tell you that somebody's always going to pop open, but it didn't happen in time before they got the sack.
No, it did not. And you know what? I'm going to remember this. I'm going to remember zone defense. They didn't really have an answer. They weren't ready to get rid of the football. Quarterback hesitated. I got to him and got him on the ground. Might be a good call later on again.
Now a lot of work to do to move the chains, keep this drive alive after that earlier sack. He lobs one high down the left side. And they wanted it all on 3rd down, but now dealing with 4th down. And here comes the punt team. From midfield, looking for room. And good work by the coverage team to knock down the return man. From the gun, they'll give it on the inside. And this one will be stopped for no gain. Didn't get much done on that first play of the drive. It's 2nd and 11. Off the RPO, complete. Makes the grab almost to the first down marker, but a good pickup on that one.
And that's why QBs love their tight ends so much, right? Especially when they're athletic, because they make short throws turn into long gains. Because of his ability after the catch, it's so unique and special. He is dominant in this offense.
This feels like 4-down territory, 3rd and short from the 40. Nowhere to go, and the ball is loose. Defense covering it up and not letting the offense get it back. It's a turnover. There is little that warms the heart of a defender like a strip sack. Even better if you get the ball.
And I like the awareness of this defender on the play because he knew he might not actually get to the quarterback and make the hit, but he was able to still swat away, use those long arms to create the turnover.
No reason to be in a big rush. They have some time here late in the half. Handoff to the single back. And he fights his way forward, gets away from one, but not much doing on that one. Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. We've reached the 2-minute timeout, and a score on this drive would do wonders for their confidence. What will they dial up? chance to work on that hurry-up offense here in the final minute of the first half. He'll pull it on the read. He is going nowhere. Stop at the line of scrimmage. The offense will have to use its first timeout of the half. Plenty of work to do here on 2nd and long. Quarterback on the keeper. They bring him down, but it'll be first down at the 42. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. It's 1st and 10 for this offense from the 42. Dropping back, it's Stewart. Quickly to the tight end. He snagged it, but he'll be stopped short of the first down. Good, solid pickup on that play. The clock will stop with this timeout from the offense. They'll get a chance to regroup on the sideline. After that last completion, it's 2nd down. Using his legs, it's Butler. They knock him down, but he's got enough to get him across the line and pick up the first down. Quick timeout from the offense to save precious seconds. It's a 1st and 10 from the 42-yard line. Got it behind the line. It's Hartman. He'll go out of bounds right at the 30-yard line. A big play as this offense in business. Looking to throw on first down. Got it in the middle. It's Dupree. He hauled that one in and got it down to the 15-yard line. All the way down to the 15-yard line. It's first down. Running out of time here in the first half. They're going to have to be efficient to put some points on the board before the break. 2nd down, they'll go to the air. Under fire. They get to him as he throws. They've got to come up with a big play on this 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Looking to the end zone. And it's caught for a touchdown.
Well, this offense is clicking. They've been doing it all first half. Running the ball, throwing the ball. They had insult to injury with another touchdown here right before teams go into the tunnel. This defense, guys, they have got to find some answers, and they've got to regroup here at halftime.
On to attempt to try. And the extra point will tack another one onto this lead. So it's an 80-yard drive. And they finish it up with a 15-yard scoring toss. And he'll bring it back. Really disciplined job by the coverage unit to get down there and make the stop at the 19. And the offense will play it safe, take a knee, and head to halftime. We've played 2 quarters here. Time to go to Kevin Connors in our halftime update.
Thanks, guys. Looks like we've had ourselves a really entertaining first half. And it's been a dynamite first half, leading to a one-sided score right now. It's not over, but I think both sides know this is on the verge of a blowout. That opposing defense is inside its locker room right now wondering 2 things. What just happened, and what do we do now to try to make this respectable? It's time to throw it back to our guys in the booth to start up the second half.
They're lined up and ready to kick off this second half. On the move from inside his 5. Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. Let's see what this offense has dialed up this time. Fires to the wideout. Just flying through the air like a superhero to make the grab.
Man, I love those guys that are willing to put their body on the line, and he does it right here, man. Just lays out. That ball's coming in. You can see it from several yards out, making that play, laying out, keeping the football from touching the turf. Great concentration, great effort by the receiver.
Off the play fake on first down, wants to throw. And this will be incomplete. A big hit there forces second down. Couldn't make the connection last time. Let's see if they throw it again. They go to the ground. down on the play as the officials take a break to let him be checked out. This offense hasn't found the end zone yet. Starting to move, it's 1st and 10. They'll move the wide receiver. Looking to throw on 1st down. And the physical play there forces the incompletion on 1st down. Working well behind the sticks on 2nd down. Off the play fake. Throws to the wideout. And he just overshot his man and threw it out of bounds, incomplete. This drive was clicking along, but after a couple of misfires, threatening to stall out on 3rd and 10. Pressure coming. Strong pass rush gets to the quarterback, and they get him at the 46.
Man, this defensive end is a monster. You've seen his athleticism, his speed, his bend, and his flexibility. He now has 2 sacks. There's still a lot of football to play.
The punt team makes its way onto the field. This will be the 5th kick of the night. Another punt on the way. Got to make sure those hammies and glutes all activated. Don't want any muscle pulls from overuse. And now the offense will come onto the field again. On the run, it's Butler. They knock him down, but not before he gets it out to the 21-yard line. Pick up a 4. After the productive 1st down play, it's 2nd and 6. Grabbed in the middle, it's Hartman. And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that. They'll need to convert this 3rd down from their own 22 to get this drive jump-started. And he bats it away. It falls incomplete. They bring the punter onto the field now. He's getting a lot of work. 4th time he's punted tonight. Looking for running room. He'll get it to the 43-yard line before he stopped. Off play action on 1st down. Here's the pressure. No more time to throw. Quarterback is sacked at the 35.
Play-action pass success has a lot to do with selling that fake. You could tell defense was not buying it, got in the backfield, got the big play.
Now facing 2nd and long after the defense came up with that sack. The give on the counter. Hard running there. They bring him down, but a solid pickup to put them in position to pick up a 1st down.
Really nice play call there on 2nd and long by the offensive coordinator. He was able to get a lot of that yardage back by running the football, and now, of course, it sets up a 3rd and manageable situation.
And this offense is desperate to keep this drive alive, trailing by multiple possessions, and it's getting late. Here comes the heat. And the quarterback will take a sack back at the 36.
And man, this offense just searching for some way to climb back and get back into this game. They're down by 1,000, and it's not looking good. And you can't even protect your quarterback on 3rd down, like everything going the other direction.
And here comes the punt team. Doesn't say much for your drive when you're looking forward to the punt. And he's going to get it up to about the 29-yard line before he's brought down. Here comes the offense back onto the field. Tight end in motion, see how the D reacts. Out of the gun, the inside handoff, looking for a crease. He's got a yard out to the 30-yard line. After picking up a couple, it's 2nd and 8. From the gun, they'll try to impose their will. Pushes ahead for a couple, they'll mark it at the 33. Here on 3rd down. To the air, it's Stewart. Makes the grab on the left. He'll be stopped short of the line to gain. Needed about 3 more on that one. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. The punt team makes its way onto the field. That leg is staying loose. Already the 5th kick of the night. Yet another punt on the way. Got to make sure that hamstring stays loose. He's been busy. Trying to start the drive with a pass. this from inside the 5. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. A lot of field in front of them as they open this possession from their own 20. Can't find his man as he took a shot trying to deliver that football, and it'll be second down. He'll do it himself. Gets it past the first down marker and still running. Out to the 35-yard line and a little extra breathing room with that 15-yard pickup.
The defense has got to do a better job with assignment football. Somebody has to be accounting for the quarterback on these run plays. You know you're going to see it. You've seen it on film. The option play, nobody home. He just takes off. That's an easy first down pickup for the offense. Moving forward now, the defense, they've got to settle in, and they've got to start playing better when it comes to assignment football.
It'll be second down as we open the final stanza. And talk about spreading the ball around, everyone getting a chance to show off the hands based on the number of targets we've seen. One more period to go and we'll see just how much fight they've got left in them. Second down coming up. Off play action. Unloads to the wideout. And it'll be incomplete. This defense is physical and pass deep. Lining up, trying to convert this third and short from the 40. One back in the backfield. He gets to carry. And how about that alertness and that swarming D to keep him from getting the first down? Down by multiple possessions. You can't come up empty on this drive. They'll go for it on fourth down. He's not going to make it, and what a big stop for this defense, and they might be able to put this thing away. He put it out there for him, and the senior gave him a chance, but they couldn't make the connection. Try to make up for some of that lost ground on second down. This quarterback part of their running game. And they pick up just one. It'll be 3rd and 9. Looking to throw, it's Stewart. And he's all bottled up, and now it's worse. The ball's loose. Bounced right back to them.
Man, those are so frustrating when you're a defense and you swarm to the football and you stick the quarterback and you make him cough it up just to have the other team recover it again and you don't get it. Still a good stick, still a good physical play. Keep hitting that quarterback.
And here comes the punt team. 3 and out, they got stuck in reverse. They hope the punt can bail them out. A fairly short distance here toward the sidelines, not his best work. Quarterback and running back set up in the pistol. They'll start this drive with a pass. Catch in the middle, it's Hawkins. Caught, and he's close to a first down on the nice pickup there. Now on second down. Looking to fire. Just a short pass to the tight end. And they'll spot it at the 38, and that'll be plenty for the first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. The give to the lone running back.
Man, it's really hard to control the running game if you don't control the line of scrimmage. And how about the defensive line doing a great job attacking those guys up front, not open up lanes to run through. Nice job just nullifying that run altogether.
Back to pass on second down. Slips a tackle. Good little pickup there as he saw some daylight and got what he could. 3rd and short now. They snap it from their own 46. Looking to throw for it. Takes a shot as he lets it go. Intercepted. Big play stops the drive.
the lead, and the defense playing accordingly, now giving it back to their offense for an opportunity to pad this lead even further here as we're in the fourth quarter.
And now this offense will take the field again. The give out of the gun. Couldn't find a lane. A pickup of 1 to the 31. Didn't get much on first down. It's 2nd and 9. They'll give it to the back. Drag down, but they'll move the sticks for a first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Looking for a physical attack from the gun. Stop is made at the 44, but it's a 15-yard gain and a first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Just too much of a rush, and down goes the quarterback just behind the midfield stripe at the 49.
No, I think a big key to linebackers having success when they blitz is the timing. You see how perfect that timing was by that linebacker? It's almost as if he knew when the snap count was. Great anticipation.
They'll try to keep that sack from wrecking this drive here on 2nd and 15. He'll pull it on the read. He's going to lose a yard on that one. Man, those last two plays were disasters, and now it's 3rd and 17. To the ground with the back. Nowhere for him to run again, and now 4th down is going to be a tough one. A fairly short distance here toward the sidelines, not his best work. So we'll see this offense make its way out to start the drive. Power football with the run. Runs through a tackle. And he finds enough running room, and he's marked down at the 20. They can really be aggressive after that last play at 2nd and 3. Wants to go up top. Catch in the middle. It's Richard. All down, but he has enough to move the chains.
Slant routes, they're good against man coverage, but they're good against zone coverage too. If that receiver can find the soft spot between the linebacker and the DB, you'll take that throw all day.
They'll start this one from the 29 on first down. Wants to go up top on first down. Got it in the middle. It's Harris. The offense calls a timeout to stop the clock. That last completion has him set up 2nd and short. Trying play action. Caught close to the marker. It's Marshall. They make the stop, but he'll have enough yardage for a first down.
And this offense has not had much to cheer about. There's something right there. Let's see if they can string a couple of plays together. Listen, this game's probably over, but this offense has got to find some kind of a rhythm, something they can hang their hat on, so that moving forward, this offense has an identity.
To the air on first down. Fires to the middle. Got him downfield. The offense wastes no time getting the timeout call. They're down to the 35 on 1st and 10. Give to the running back. And he was fortunate not to lose yardage on that play, able to wedge it back to the line of scrimmage. To the air on 2nd down.
All right, that does it for game number 2, and South Terrebonne will improve to a 6-1 record with their 20-0 victory over Morgan City. So this is going to have a few different implications. I'll try to go over some of that here in just a little bit. For now, let's take a look at the stats real quick. Again, we can't keep track of these in game from week to week, so I like to take a look at them after each game just for anyone that may want to keep track at home. All right, so Robert Stewart had a pretty decent day, 15 to 26, 158 yards passing and a touchdown. He also had a pretty decent day running the ball, I believe. Let's see, well, only 10 yards showing. I think he had more yards rushing. Again, a lot of these are sacks. He didn't run the ball 11 times. He had a couple sacks in there, I believe. He did have uh, that rushing touchdown that was big early on. Butler had a few good runs. Other than that, they were able to contain him for a little, for the most part. 14 carries for 65 yards on his end, and then receiving wise, here's the receiving yardage. Let's see, Butler had a couple of catches. Hargrove, Dupree. He had that touchdown there right at the end of the first half. I didn't think that was going to be a touchdown. I thought they were going to review that because that was really, really close. But I guess he got his feet in. Blocking, and then the defense. South Terrebonne's defense has been pretty solid all season long. Once again, a lot of sacks. Had 4 sacks right here alone. And I'll just go through these real quick. A couple of turnovers. There was an interception here. And then we had another one down here as well. So you can take a look at those numbers. But yeah, the South Terrebonne defense, I believe they've only given up. This was, I think, their second shutout. This, you know what? Actually, 3 shutouts if you include the Ellender game, because the only score Ellender had was off of a safety. So Ellender's offense actually did not score in that game. That that final score was 9-2. So yeah, so technically this would be South Terrebonne's defense's third shutout that they've pitched this year defensively. Let's move on to the Morgan City stats real quick. But just to wrap up with the talking about South Terrebonne's defense and how they performed this year, as we take a look at Hartley's passing stats, the most points that South Terrebonne has given up in a single game this season was 17 points to Terrebonne. So they've done a really good job, been a really solid defense all season long. We'll see if that continues in the playoffs here. All right, offensively for Morgan City, these are the rushing stats. Once again, lots of sacks. Always, always adds up on that. Always see a lot of negative rushing yardage on the quarterbacks. Offensively, not a lot going on for Morgan City. They really struggled in this game. Had a couple of drives that just got killed. One of them was a pretty good drive that got killed by that interception. Defensive stats. Let's see. I believe there was a fumble. Was there a recovery? I think there was a fumble recovery. Forced fumble, fumble recovery. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, they had a fumble recovery right there. Yep. A couple forced fumbles, but only one of them got recovered by Morgan City. Nothing to show for kicking and the punting stats. There you go. So that does it for our stats. And once again, South Terrebonne improves to a 6-1 record. Morgan City is going to be needing some help going forward. I'll be going over that here in just a second as we wrap things up. I'm sure South Terrebonne would have preferred a little bit better of a performance offensively. I think they left some points on the out there on the field that they couldn't put on the board. But other than that, they'll take a 20-0 victory going into the playoffs. I'm sure any day of the week. All right. So I'm going to pause here real quick and come right back as we're going to wrap this up. So stick with me and we'll be right back.